There are 4 workpieces which form a frame. This shows the waste parts marked with crosses, non-waste parts marked with circles. The left piece is the horizontal rail. A tenon will be cut on this piece. The right piece is the vertical stile. A slot will be cut in this piece. We will cut the slot on the vertical stile first. Combine spacers to make 1/3 of the thickness of the workpiece. Insert the spacers behind the sliding face and tighten the knobs. Clamp the workpiece to the guide and saw down to the line. Flip over the workpiece and saw down in the same manner as before. Two saw curves are made. Proceed to cut all the stiles. Let's review the rule again. You can see that one of the circle marks on the end of the workpiece is covered by the overhang of the sliding face. You cannot see that circle. You can see a cross beside the sliding face. In this case, you do not insert a saw blade spacer between the stationary face and the workpiece. This is the horizontal rail. We will cut a tenon in this piece. To compensate for the location of the cut, insert the saw blade spacer between the stationary face and the workpiece, and saw down to the line. Flip over the workpiece and saw down in the same manner. This is the stile. Secure the workpiece. The waste will be cut away with a coping saw and cleaned up with a chisel. The slot on the stile is completed. Clamp the workpiece to the cross-cut guide and cut away the waste at the shoulder line. A stop block clamped to the workbench determines the exact length of the tenon. The tenon on each end is cut. Try the fit. It's perfect. During the process of cutting half-lap joints and bridle joints, have you noticed that you don't need to scribe lines with a marking gauge to divide the waste and non-waste parts on the workpieces? This method speeds up the procedure. A frame with bridle joints is completed. This is a variation of the bridle joint. It has grooves for inserting a panel to build a door. The width of the tenon on the rail is narrowed down by the depth of the groove. This is another variation of the bridle joint, a mitered bridle joint. Yet another variation of the bridle joint has rabbets to insert glass to build a glass door. These rabbets are cut with a plough plane. Measure the thickness of the workpiece. Measure the width of the mortise. The thickness of the workpiece minus the width of the mortise is the amount of the waste. This amount divided by 2 is the waste on each side of the tenon. Mark the length of the mortise to the workpiece and saw down to the mark. Choose spacers equal to the waste of each side of the tenon and insert them behind the sliding face. Place a saw blade spacer onto the stationary face. Then clamp the workpiece in place. This is also a Japanese flush-cut pull saw with no tooth set. Saw down to the shoulder line on each side. Four kerfs are made. Cut around the tenon and make clean shoulders on the cross-cut guide. It's a good fit. Chamfer the corners of the tenon to fit to the rounded mortise. A perfect mortise and tenon joint is made.